Hi everyone! Today I'm going to show you how to bake egg-free Levain-style cookies. Now their cookies are being known for being quite big and thick and soft on the inside with chunks of chocolate chips and walnuts, but still baked on the outside. Now I actually had some of their cookies myself when I visited New York a while ago, and I do have to admit that they kept me busy for quite a while. Which might also be because I had way too many sweets while I was in New York. Now I know that there are a lot of recipes for Levain-style cookies out there, but the beauty of mine is that it's egg-free. This means that you can easily adapt it if you want to make it vegan. Simply replace the butter with margarine and the milk with any plant-based alternative. You ready? Let's get into it. Now before we jump into this, I want you to prepare all of your ingredients because you're gonna see it is so simple and easy to do if everything's already prepared, and your delicious cookie dough will be done in absolutely no time. We're going to take our soft butter as well as the sugars. So the brown sugar and the white sugar, I just mixed it in here together. And we're also going to take the salt. And all of this will go into the bowl of a stand mixer. If you don't have a stand mixer, there's absolutely no problem. You can also just easily take a hand mixer. Just make sure that you use a bowl that is big enough. It doesn't have to be this big, but just big enough that it holds all of your ingredients. So we're going to start mixing on low speed, which is mostly to make sure that in case your butter is still a bit hard, that it just doesn't start to fly around in your kitchen, which can happen if you start on medium or high speed. So just gently start and see if your butter is at the right temperature. And once you see that it's all right, don't hesitate to put it a bit faster. Okay, let's see. So this is looking good. I can see that my butter is nice and soft, so I can increase my speed. Now you can just let it mix for several minutes. We want it to be really nice and soft and get it as fluffy as possible. Okay, let's have a look at it. Oh, this is nice. So here actually you can see pretty well the color indifference. So you see how it looks now in comparison to where we started. So you see the butter, you see the brown sugar. So yeah, nice work, stand mixer. So what I'm going to do now is I simply remove everything that is here that hasn't been beaten yet, because we do want our cookie dough to be nice and homogeneous. Now what I like to do is I scrape my bowl, which is just to make sure that there's nothing stuck anywhere that hasn't been incorporated yet. Now this looks good. And I'm going to mix one more time. All right, this looks fantastic. It's got a really nice texture. The color is looking good. Like, you can definitely tell that the butter has lightened in color a lot. It's nice and mixed. So we are now ready to add in the milk. One thing that might happen is that your butter and milk mixture can split. This can especially happen if your butter is now at room temperature and your milk comes straight out of the fridge. But what I can tell you is that you really don't have to worry about it, because as soon as you add in the flour, it's most likely going to fix the issue. And we continue mixing again on low speed so that the milk doesn't go everywhere. Okay, fantastic. It did not split, which is really nice. So here's what it's looking like once the milk is in it. So here we have the flour, and here we have the baking powder. So what you should definitely do is that you give all of this a nice mix to make sure that the baking powder is evenly distributed within the flour. You can just add in everything at the same time. Put your mixer on low to medium speed and only mix until you can see that the flour is fully incorporated and your batter looks homogeneous. Now the base of our cookie dough is done. It looks like this. It has a pretty firm texture. But then again, you can also see how it's light and it's holding together even though there are no eggs in it. And now we are ready to add in our chopped chocolate and the walnuts. So now I decided for dark chocolate and walnuts because that's just what I really like in my cookies. But truly, you can get creative. You now have the base, so you can pretty much add whatever you want. If you don't like nuts, leave them out. You want more chocolate, add more of it. You want to change to macadamia nuts and white chocolate, do it. The only thing maybe to consider is that white chocolate is sweeter than dark chocolate, so maybe leave out some of the sugar. So maybe I'll just keep this much for decoration. Here comes the chocolate. Also for the chocolate, so I decided for that kind of size because that's what I like, but it's totally up to you. If you want to have gigantic chunks of chocolate in it, then do it and go for it. I'll also leave this aside. Similar to the flour, only mix until everything is a bit spread everywhere in the batter. And that's it! Your cookie dough is done. Let's have a look at it. Yeah, this looks beautiful. I love it. You can see the chocolate chunks everywhere, the walnuts. Beautiful texture. For that, you simply take a spoon, place it on a scale, 116. I'll give it a little bit more. You then simply take it, and with your hands you form it into a little bowl. So now I have 60 grams left. So that means that I set aside 60 grams of walnuts and dark chocolate. So with these 60 grams, what I'm going to do, I will just put a little bit on each and every of them, as I want them to be pretty much the same size. Then you just have to roll them again quickly. Once they're rolled, I'm going to wrap them in cling film and put them in the freezer for at least a couple of hours. It is easy as that, just cover it. No need to wrap them all separately or anything. Just cover them up like this, and now they're ready to go into the freezer. So it is the next day and my cookies are nice and cold and firm. In fact, mine are frozen and they are ready to be baked. As I said, you don't necessarily have to freeze them, you can also just keep them in your fridge. Just make sure that, the dough really has some time to harden up so that we don't have one big flat cookie in the oven. Now's the time to preheat your oven to 180 degrees Celsius or 360 degrees Fahrenheit, so that once the oven is hot, we can put these beauties in it. Here I have prepared my baking tray and a silicone mat. If you don't have a silicone mat, you can definitely just take normal parchment paper. That's gonna work just as well. In case your cookies stick to your chopping board or wherever you place your cookie balls on, just gently take a spatula or a knife and go under your cookies so you can remove them. Okay, let's place our cookie balls on the baking tray. Just make sure that you keep enough space between them, as they do tend to spread out once they're baking. If you don't want to bake all of your cookies at the same time, or you want to keep some for later, you can easily just pop them in the freezer and you can keep them there for up to 3 months. Simply place them in a Ziploc bag or a container, and once you're ready to bake them, just put them on the baking tray like we did now and put it in the oven. Now these go in the oven for 18 to 20 minutes until they're nice and golden and they spread a bit. So as you can see, they did spread out a bit, not too much, but still what I like to do is I take one of my cookie cutters. Well, this one's too small. Well, I take my biggest cookie cutter, which is 11.3 centimeters, in case you're interested. And what I do now is I just go around my cookie and I ever so slightly shapen it by doing circular movements. This just helps to have really nice and round cookies. It's definitely nothing that you really have to do. It's just if you want them to be really round, then I recommend you do this. Just be careful, like here you can see that my cookies are quite close to each other, so when you move your ring, be careful to not touch the other cookies, or otherwise, well, they won't be round anymore. At the moment you can see how soft they still are, so I'm just gonna let them cool off, and then once they're nice and cold, we can decorate them. Now for decoration, we have some chopped chocolate here as well as some walnuts. I kept some aside when we made the cake batter, but you can also just chop some more. Then you can use, for example, your favorite chocolate spread to put on top of cookies. You can also melt chocolate. This is totally up to you. And then here I still have some leftover almond and hazelnut praline, so I'm also going to put this on top of my cookies. Use your chocolate spread and just do some, I don't know how to call it, just put some of it on your cookie. Now I do the same with my praline. Now we take the chocolate and just sprinkle some of it on top. Again, it is your cookie, so you decide how much you want to put. Some walnuts. And this is looking good. Just continue doing the same with the rest until you're done, and then you're ready to enjoy your cookie.